Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that often holds us back in life: comparing ourselves to others. In a world filled with social media highlights, external pressures, and expectations, it's easy to lose sight of the most important person in your journey: you. Too often, we measure our success by looking at others. We see someone achieving more, earning more, or appearing happier, and we feel like we're falling behind. But the truth is, comparison is a thief of joy. It distracts us from our own growth, our own progress, and our own unique path. Instead of focusing on others, focus on yourself. Your only competition should be the person you were yesterday. Strive to improve, learn, and evolve at your own pace. Success isn't about being the best compared to someone else. It's about being better than you were before. Think about a tree. It doesn't look at the tree next to it and try to grow the same way. It simply reaches for the sun at its own pace. Likewise, your growth is yours alone. Comparison is something we all do, often without even realizing it. From a young age, we are taught to measure ourselves against others, whether it's in school, sports, careers, or even personal achievements. We see someone who appears more successful, wealthier, or happier, and we immediately start questioning ourselves. Why am I not there yet? Why is their life better than mine? This habit of comparing ourselves to others is not only unhelpful, but also deeply damaging. The truth is, comparison is the thief of joy. When we focus too much on what others have or what they are achieving, we lose sight of our own path. Instead of appreciating what we have, we start feeling inadequate. Instead of recognizing our progress, we feel like we are falling behind. This cycle of comparison leads to unnecessary stress, anxiety, and even a sense of failure, even when we are doing well in our own right. One of the biggest problems with comparing ourselves to others is that we often compare our worst moments to their best moments. Social media has made this even worse. People post their highlights, the vacations, promotions, celebrations, and picture-perfect moments. But what we don't see are the struggles behind those posts. We don't see the late nights, the failures, the insecurities, or the sacrifices they made to get there. We compare our everyday struggles with someone else's filtered reality, making us feel like we are not good enough. Another reason why comparison is so harmful is that it takes away our focus from what really matters: our own journey. Life is not a race, and there is no single definition of success. Everyone has different starting points, different challenges, and different goals. Just because someone achieves something before you doesn't mean you are behind. It simply means they are on a different path. Imagine two people climbing two different mountains. Just because one reaches their peak first doesn't mean the other's journey is any less valuable. The key to breaking free from this cycle is to shift the focus inward. Instead of looking at others, look at yourself. The only person you should compete with is the person you were yesterday. Ask yourself, am I improving? Am I growing? Am I learning? These are the questions that truly matter. Progress, no matter how small, is still progress. When you focus on your own growth, you stop worrying about how you measure up to others and start appreciating your unique journey. Setting personal goals is a powerful way to stay focused on yourself. Define success on your own terms. What do you truly want in life? What makes you happy? When you have a clear vision of what you want, other people's achievements become less relevant. Their success doesn't take away from yours. Instead of feeling jealous or discouraged by their accomplishments, you can learn from them and use their success as inspiration rather than a comparison. Another important step is to practice gratitude. Instead of focusing on what you lack, focus on what you have. Take a moment each day to appreciate your progress, your strengths, and the opportunities you have. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. When you stop obsessing over what others have, you start recognizing the value in your own life. It's also important to remember that external validation does not define your worth. Too often we seek approval from others to feel good about ourselves. We want people to acknowledge our achievements, to recognize our hard work, and to admire our success. But true confidence comes from within. You don't need anyone else's validation to know your worth. When you focus on yourself, your self-esteem becomes unshakable because it is based on your own standards, not someone else's opinion. Limiting social media comparison can also help break the habit of comparing yourself to others. Social media is a highlight reel, not reality. If scrolling through Instagram or LinkedIn makes you feel inadequate, take a break. Instead of spending time looking at what others are doing, invest that time in yourself. Read a book, learn a new skill, work on a passion project. Do something that helps you grow. Lastly, embrace your journey. Life is not about being the best compared to others. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Every person's path is different, and that's what makes life beautiful. Trust your timing, believe in your process, and stay committed to your goals. When you focus on yourself, you free yourself from the pressure of competition and allow yourself to grow in the most authentic way possible. The only person you need to impress is yourself. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep striving to be the best version of yourself. Because when you focus on your own path, you will find more happiness, more success, and more fulfillment than comparison could ever give you. In a world that constantly pushes us to compete, it is easy to fall into the trap of measuring our success against others. We grow up in an environment where comparison is encouraged, whether in school, sports, careers, or even personal achievements. We see people doing better than us, and instead of feeling inspired, we feel discouraged. We start believing that their success somehow takes away from our own. But the truth is, the only person you should compete with is yourself. When you shift your focus from competing with others to improving yourself, everything changes. Instead of feeling frustrated by someone else's progress, you start appreciating your own journey. You begin to realize that success is not about being better than someone else. It is about being better than you were yesterday. This simple shift in mindset allows you to grow without pressure, to achieve without resentment, and to celebrate your progress without feeling inadequate. One of the biggest problems with constantly comparing yourself to others is that it creates an illusion of competition where none actually exists. Life is not a race where everyone is running toward the same finish line. Everyone has their own path, their own challenges, and their own timeline. Just because someone reaches a milestone before you doesn't mean you are behind. It simply means they are on a different journey. Think about a runner training for a marathon. Their goal is not to beat every other runner. Their goal is to beat their own previous time. Every day, they train to become a little stronger, a little faster, and a little better than before. That's the mindset we should all adopt. Instead of worrying about what others are doing, we should focus on our own growth. Personal growth is not about making sudden, drastic changes. It is about making small, consistent improvements over time. If you focus on being just 1% better every day, over time, those small changes add up to something extraordinary. Whether it's learning a new skill, improving your health, or developing better habits, what truly matters is steady progress. When you compete only with yourself, you remove unnecessary stress and pressure. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to others. Instead, you are motivated by your own goals and ambitions. You define success on your own terms, rather than letting society or other people dictate what success should look like for you. Another benefit of focusing on your own journey is that it allows you to develop genuine confidence. That when you base your self-worth on external validation, it is fragile. If you constantly seek approval from others, you will always feel like you are not enough. But when you focus on your own progress, your confidence becomes unshakable. You know that you are improving, and that is enough. You no longer need others to tell you that you are successful, because you already know it within yourself. One way to strengthen this mindset is to track your progress. Keep a journal, set goals, and celebrate small victories. When you see how far you've come, it reinforces the belief that you are growing, and that is what truly matters. Instead of worrying about what someone else has accomplished, look at what you have achieved. Even the smallest step forward is a step in the right direction. Another important lesson is to embrace failure as part of growth. When you compete with others, failure feels like defeat. But when you compete with yourself, failure becomes a learning opportunity. Every setback teaches you something valuable. Every mistake makes you wiser. When you stop fearing failure and start seeing it as part of the journey, you remove another layer of unnecessary pressure. It is also important to surround yourself with the right mindset. If you are constantly around people who thrive on competition and comparison, it becomes difficult to focus on your own growth. Instead, surround yourself with those who support and encourage personal improvement. Find mentors, friends, and role models who inspire you to be better, not those who make you feel like you need to keep up. Social media can also be a major distraction when trying to focus on yourself. It is easy to look at someone else's success and feel like you are not doing enough. But remember, what you see on social media is a highlight reel, not the full picture. No one posts their struggles, failures, or insecurities. The best way to avoid unnecessary comparison is to limit your time on social media and instead spend that time working on your own goals. The only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Growth is a lifelong journey, and every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. When you stop competing with others and start focusing on yourself, you free yourself from stress, self-doubt, and unnecessary pressure. You begin to live life on your own terms, at your own pace, in your own way. Let go of comparisons. Stop measuring your success based on someone else's timeline. Your journey is unique, and your progress is valuable. Keep improving, keep growing, and most importantly, keep moving forward. Because in the end, the only competition that truly matters is the one with yourself. Success is often seen as a destination, a goal that we must reach to feel accomplished. But what many people fail to realize is that true success is not measured by how we compare to others, but by how much we improve ourselves. It is easy to fall into the trap of looking at someone else's progress and feeling like we are behind, but in reality, the only person we should be measuring ourselves against is who we were yesterday. When we focus too much on external competition, we forget that the most important competition is internal. Every person has a unique journey, different circumstances, and distinct challenges. What works for one person may not work for another. Yet we often make the mistake of assuming that just because someone else is succeeding in a certain way, we need to follow the same path. This mindset can be dangerous because it shifts our focus away from what truly matters: our own growth. If we constantly measure our success by looking at others, we will never feel satisfied. There will always be someone ahead, someone achieving more, someone appearing happier or wealthier. But their success does not mean our failure. Everyone moves at their own pace, and progress looks different for each individual. Instead of focusing on where others are, we should focus on where we are and how we can improve. One of the most powerful shifts we can make is to start setting personal goals that are based on our own ambitions, not external pressures. When we allow society, family, or peers to define success for us, we lose control of our own happiness. True fulfillment comes from achieving the things that matter to us, not from keeping up with someone else's achievements. By setting personal goals, we create a vision for ourselves that is unique and meaningful, making our progress feel more rewarding. Growth is a continuous process, and improvement happens in small steps. We often underestimate the power of gradual progress. When we stop focusing on others and start focusing on ourselves, we begin to appreciate the little wins, the moments of growth, the lessons learned, and the improvements made over time. The key is to stay committed to self-improvement without letting external distractions shift our focus. One of the biggest barriers to self-improvement is the fear of failure. When we compare ourselves to others, failure seems more discouraging because we feel like we are falling behind. But failure is not a sign of defeat. It is a sign of progress. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn. Every setback a chance to grow stronger. When we focus on ourselves, failure becomes a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. Another essential part of self-growth is self-awareness. The more we understand ourselves, our strengths, and our weaknesses, the easier it becomes to improve. When we focus on our own journey, we develop a deeper connection with ourselves. We begin to recognize our own patterns, habits, and areas for growth. This self-awareness allows us to make intentional changes that lead to long-term success. A major challenge in today's world is the impact of social media on self-comparison. With constant exposure to the highlight reels of others, it is easy to feel inadequate. We see people achieving milestones, living glamorous lives, and reaching goals that seem out of our reach. But what we fail to see is the hard work, struggles, and sacrifices behind those achievements. Social media often portrays a filtered reality, making it dangerous to compare our real-life journey to someone else's curated moments. To truly focus on ourselves, we need to shift our attention from external validation to internal fulfillment. Seeking approval from others only leads to temporary satisfaction, but when we find motivation from within, our growth becomes sustainable. The moment we stop needing others to recognize our success is the moment we truly start succeeding. Investing in self-growth means dedicating time to personal development, whether it is through learning, improving skills, or working on mental and emotional well-being. When we focus on ourselves, we build resilience, confidence, and self-sufficiency. We no longer rely on external factors to define our worth, but instead find value in our own efforts and progress. The only competition that truly matters is with ourselves. Every day is an opportunity to become better, stronger, and wiser than before. The journey of self-improvement is ongoing, and there is no final destination, only continuous growth. By focusing on ourselves instead of others, we create a path that is fulfilling, authentic, and uniquely ours. Life is not a straight road, and everyone moves at their own pace. Yet, too often, we fall into the habit of comparing our progress to others, believing that if someone else achieves something before us, we are somehow behind. This mindset is not only unproductive, but also unfair to ourselves. Each person has a unique journey, shaped by different experiences, challenges, and circumstances. The key to true fulfillment is not in chasing someone else's timeline, but in embracing and trusting our own process. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we create unnecessary stress and anxiety. Instead of focusing on our own growth, we become fixated on what someone else is doing, measuring our worth based on external achievements. But success is not a universal formula. It is deeply personal. What success looks like for one person may not be the same for another. Some people may achieve their dreams early in life, while others take longer to find their path. Neither journey is better than the other. They are simply different. Think about nature. Every flower blooms in its own time. A sunflower does not compare itself to a rose. It simply grows at its own pace, reaching for the sunlight in its own way. Similarly, we must learn to focus on our personal growth rather than trying to match someone else's progress. When we embrace our individual journey, we begin to appreciate the value of patience and perseverance. One of the most important lessons we can learn is to trust the timing of our lives. Just because we haven't reached a certain milestone yet doesn't mean we never will. Often, we look at others who are successful and assume that they got there effortlessly. But what we don't see are the struggles, failures, and sacrifices that came before their success. Everyone faces obstacles, but those who succeed are the ones who keep moving forward, regardless of how long it takes. Instead of looking at what others have accomplished, we should focus on what we can do to improve ourselves. Every small step forward is still progress. Whether it's learning a new skill, developing a positive habit, or simply becoming more self-aware, each effort contributes to our growth. The journey is not about speed, it's about consistency and commitment to becoming the best version of ourselves. It is also important to understand that external achievements do not define our worth. Society often places pressure on us to reach certain milestones by a specific age, whether it's getting a degree, landing a high-paid job, or starting a family. But life is not a checklist, and there is no single path to success. What truly matters is finding what makes us happy and fulfilled, regardless of how long it takes. Social media has made it even harder to avoid comparisons. We are constantly exposed to images of people achieving great things, traveling to beautiful places and living seemingly perfect lives. But what we see online is only a small part of the picture. People rarely share their struggles, doubts, or failures. Comparing our real lives to someone else's highlight reel is unfair and unrealistic. The best way to avoid this trap is to limit our exposure to social media and focus on our own progress instead. Another crucial aspect of embracing our journey is practicing gratitude. When we focus too much on what we don't have, we fail to appreciate what we do have. Taking time to acknowledge our achievements, no matter how small, helps us stay motivated and positive. Gratitude shifts our mindset from feeling inadequate to recognizing how far we've come. At the heart of all this is self-acceptance. We must learn to appreciate ourselves as we are, while still striving for growth. It is possible to be both proud of our progress and eager to improve. True confidence comes not from comparing ourselves to others, but from recognizing our own strengths and potential. The journey of life is not about outpacing others. It is about growing at our own pace, in our own way. When we stop worrying about where others are and focus on our own path, we free ourselves from unnecessary pressure. We begin to appreciate our own progress, trust our own timing, and embrace our own unique story. In doing so, we find not only success, but also true happiness and fulfillment. Social media has changed the way we see the world and ourselves. Every day, we scroll through endless posts showing people achieving their dreams, traveling to exotic places, buying expensive things, or celebrating personal milestones. While there is nothing wrong with people sharing their success, the problem begins when we start comparing our reality to their highlight reel. It's easy to look at these images and feel like we are not doing enough, not successful enough, or not happy enough. But what we often forget is that social media does not show the full picture. People rarely post their struggles, failures, or doubts. They don't show the hard work that went into their achievements or the sacrifices they made to get there. Instead, we see the final product, the moment of celebration, the perfect photo, the polished version of their life. And when we compare that to our own daily struggles, it creates a false sense of inadequacy. We start feeling like we are behind in life, when in reality we are simply on a different journey. This constant exposure to curated content makes it difficult to focus on ourselves. Instead of appreciating our own progress, we become distracted by what others are doing. We start measuring our self-worth based on likes, comments, and followers, forgetting that real success and happiness come from within, not from online validation. The more we seek approval from others, the more we lose sight of what truly matters, our personal growth and well-being. One of the best things we can do for ourselves is to limit social media comparison. This doesn't mean we have to stop using social media entirely, but we should be mindful of how it affects our mindset. If scrolling through Instagram or LinkedIn makes us feel inadequate, it might be time to take a step back. Instead of focusing on what others are achieving, we can use that time to invest in ourselves. We can read, learn a new skill, exercise, or work on our personal goals. Things that actually contribute to our growth and happiness. Another important step is to remind ourselves that success is not a race. There is no set timeline for achieving our dreams. Just because someone else reaches a milestone before us doesn't mean we are failing. Everyone has their own unique path, and comparing our progress to others only distracts us from our own journey. True success is not about being ahead of someone else. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves. Instead of spending time worrying about how we compare to others, we should focus on setting our own goals. What do we want to achieve? What makes us happy? When we have a clear vision of our own path, we become less concerned with what others are doing. Their success does not take away from ours. In fact, when we stop seeing others as competition, we can start seeing them as inspiration. We can learn from their journey without feeling like we need to match it. Gratitude also plays a big role in shifting our mindset. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, we focus on what we lack instead of appreciating what we have. But when we take time to recognize our own achievements, no matter how small, we start feeling more content with our progress. Gratitude helps us see that we are not behind, we are simply moving at our own pace. It's also important to remember that happiness does not come from external achievements alone. While success is rewarding, true happiness comes from within. It comes from personal growth, meaningful relationships, self-acceptance, and living in alignment with our values. When we focus on these things rather than comparing ourselves to others, we build a sense of fulfillment that is not dependent on external validation. The only person we should be competing with is ourselves. Instead of trying to be better than someone else, we should strive to be better than we were yesterday. Progress, no matter how small, is still progress. Every step forward, whether in our career, health, or personal growth, is something to be proud of. By shifting our focus away from others and back to ourselves, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and self-doubt. We start living life on our own terms, at our own pace, in our own way. And that is the key to lasting success and happiness. In a world that constantly pushes us to measure our worth by comparison, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters: our own personal growth. From a young age, we are taught to compete, to strive to be better than others, and to view success as something that is determined by how we stack up against those around us. But this mindset is exhausting and unfulfilling. When we are always looking at others, we forget to appreciate our own journey, our own progress, and our own unique path. The truth is, no two people have the same starting point, the same challenges, or the same opportunities. Everyone moves through life at their own pace, facing different obstacles and experiences that shape them. When we compare ourselves to others, we are often comparing our behind-the-scenes struggles to their highlight moments. We see their successes, but not their failures, their confidence, but not their insecurities. This creates an illusion that they are ahead while we are behind, but in reality, we are all simply on different paths. One of the most harmful effects of comparison is that it takes away our ability to appreciate our own progress. Instead of celebrating our small wins, we dismiss them because they don't seem as significant as someone else's achievements. But progress is progress, no matter how small. Every step forward, every lesson learned, and every challenge overcome is something to be proud of. When we stop focusing on how far others have come and start recognizing how far we have come, we develop a greater sense of self-worth and motivation. Social media has made it even harder to avoid comparisons. Every time we scroll through our feeds, we are bombarded with images of success. New jobs, expensive vacations, seemingly perfect relationships, and personal milestones. But what we don't see is the full story. We don't see the sleepless nights, the hard work, the sacrifices, or the self-doubt that went into those achievements. What we see is a curated version of reality, carefully selected to show only the best moments. When we compare our everyday lives to these curated snapshots, we set ourselves up for disappointment and self-doubt. Instead of falling into the trap of comparison, we must learn to focus on our own journey. Success is not about being the best compared to others. It's about being the best version of ourselves. This means setting goals that align with our personal values and aspirations rather than chasing what society deems as success. It means measuring our progress based on our own growth rather than external benchmarks. When we define success on our own terms, we gain control over our happiness and fulfillment. A powerful way to stay focused on ourselves is to practice self-reflection. Taking time to evaluate our progress, recognize our strengths, and set new goals helps us stay motivated and committed to self-improvement. Keeping a journal, tracking achievements, and reminding ourselves of our growth can help shift our mindset from one of comparison to one of appreciation. When we see how much we have grown over time, we become more confident in our own journey. Another key to breaking free from comparison is gratitude. When we focus too much on what we don't have, we fail to see all that we do have. Practicing gratitude allows us to appreciate the progress we've made, the opportunities we've been given, and the lessons we've learned. It shifts our focus from scarcity to abundance, from self-doubt to self-confidence. When we are grateful for our journey, we no longer feel the need to compare it to someone else's. We must also remind ourselves that external validation does not determine our worth. Too often we seek approval from others to feel successful. But true confidence comes from within. When we focus on personal growth rather than outside recognition, we develop a stronger sense of self-worth. We learn to trust ourselves, believe in our abilities, and pursue our goals with purpose and determination. Limiting exposure to negative comparisons can also make a huge difference. If social media triggers feelings of inadequacy, taking a break from it, or curating our feeds to follow accounts that inspire and uplift rather than provoke comparison can help. Instead of spending time watching others, we can use that time to invest in ourselves, reading, learning new skills, and working on our personal growth. At the end of the day, the only person we should strive to be better than is the person we were yesterday. Growth is a lifelong journey, and every step forward, no matter how small, is worth celebrating. When we shift our focus from competition to self-improvement, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and pressure. We begin to appreciate our own journey, embrace our unique path, and find fulfillment in our own progress. That is where true happiness and success lie, not in comparison, but in self-growth.